everyone, it's me, Kelly, and I am back today to show you how to make a solar oven. Now, today was all about saving energy and protecting our planet, so I'm going to show you how you can use that alternative energy, aka the sun, to cook food. Now, before I start, I'm going to say that unless you live in a really hot place, you probably don't want to try to actually cook food. Like, don't throw a raw hamburger in this thing, but it's really good if you just need to melt things or warm things up, so it's perfect for things like s'mores. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to make it. So you're going to need a few different supplies. So I'm going to show you how to make one out of a pizza box. It doesn't have to be small like this. Any pizza box is fine. So you're going to need a pizza box. You're going to need scissors and tape. You're going to need aluminum foil. If you can find the heavy duty stuff, that's better just because it won't rip as easily when you're using it. You're going to need plastic wrap or saran wrap, some people call it. If you have a pie plate or something silver like this, it's really useful, but I'll show you another way to basically make one out of foil. And then the last thing is I'm using a ruler, but you need some kind of long stick or skewer, something that you're going to use to prop open the lid. So it doesn't have to be a ruler, that's just what I have. So let's get started. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to cut a flap in the top of our pizza box, okay? Now, to do that, I have what's called a box cutter. You, as a child, should not use a box cutter. So if you have one, ask your parent to do this step for you. If you don't have one, at the end, they'll show you how to do this with a different kind of box where you won't have to cut a flap, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and very carefully, what I want to do is cut a flap in the flap, which I know is weird. So this is my top flap, but I'm going to cut out a flap, so just 3 sides of it. I'm not really measuring, but I'm going in an inch or 2 from the sides from each side here. So I'm going to go ahead and just cut. I'm going to go nice and slow. Safety first. And then notice I stopped a few inches. Cut the next flap. Oops. And then the last side. So you're only cutting 3 of the sides. Okay, make sure that that worked. Close up my knife there. So you should be able to pop out a flap like this. Okay, so you might need to kind of push on the end to fold it, but it should open up now like this. Okay, you'll notice I got some pizza sauce there, which is totally fine, so we're going to cover that up. So the next step is to take your foil, and what we're going to do is we're going to cover all of the inside parts in foil. So I'm going to cover the inside of this flap here and the inside of the box. Okay, so we might kind of speed up this part, but I'm going to go ahead and get started. It doesn't have to be super neat. The main part is to just make sure all of it is covered. So I'm literally just going to line it up and then wrap it around. Okay, so you can see now I've got this whole flap covered. And then I'm going to open up the other flap, not the flaps, and do the inside. Just going to make a nice long sheet and then see if I have to cover any gaps. I like to lay it over and then push it down just to make sure it sits inside nicely. And then the corners don't have to be super neat, so just kind of squish it in there. Move my knife here, that's not very safe. Slip it in there. Okay. All right, and that should be fine. Now, you'll notice it's not perfect, like I have some open cardboard here. It's not a big deal. I don't want to waste a whole nother sheet of foil just for that area. But basically, the more shiny surfaces you have, the more light is going to bounce around inside your solar oven to heat up your food. So the more shininess you have, the quicker your food's going to heat up, basically. Okay. Now, the next step is we need a way to kind of soak up some of that heat inside the oven to keep it in there. Because right now, if I have my solar oven set up, and my sunlight's bouncing off, it might just bounce right back out. A lot of it's going to bounce out, and I want to keep some of it in there. So that's when your black paper comes in. So on the bottom, you're going to put a sheet of black paper. Okay, and it does have to be black because if you don't know, the color black absorbs or soaks up heat instead of bouncing it away. So if it's a really hot day, you want to wear a shirt that's going to bounce away heat like the color white, not black. You might have noticed before if you wear black clothes, you might feel a little bit warmer. So I'm literally just going to lay it right in the bottom like that. Okay, that's fancy, right? lay it in there. I went ahead and cut my edges off so that it fits, so you might need to do that because your piece might not be the exact size. Okay. Now, there is one last big step. I'm gonna close my edge flap, but keep my top one open, okay? We want a way, now that we've got all this nice heat inside our oven, well, once it's in the sun we will, we want a way to keep it in there to cook the food, okay? So that's where your saran wrap or plastic wrap comes in. We're gonna take a sheet and tape it over this, and we do wanna make sure it's as tight and taped down as possible so that the heat can't get out, okay? Now to do that, you're probably gonna have to open this up a bit so that you can reach the edges for the tape. So I'm gonna go ahead and get my sheet of plastic wrap. You might need the help of a brother or sister or parent just because you guys know this stuff sticks to itself. We'll see if I can manage it by myself. I'm gonna try to lay it out and then cut it once I know the size. I'm just gonna lay it over there and then grab my scissors. Obviously I'll make it tighter once I'm taping it and cut. Okay. All right, and then I'm grabbing my tape. One tip for you guys, just to kind of keep safe since we're working with food here, is when you're taping, try to make sure all of the tape that you put on your solar oven is on the outside, not on the inside where the food will be. Because what can actually happen is when the tape gets heated up by the sun, which we want everything else to get heated up by the sun, but if the tape does, it can actually release some chemicals into the air in there. This is hard to do. Okay, I'm gonna do it on the sides here. And so you obviously don't want chemicals in with your food. So you'll notice I'm putting my tape on the outside flap like that, on the outside, not on the inside. All right, do one more piece of tape over there and then I'll stretch it to the other side. All right, cool. Turn it. Should be able to stretch that. Perfect, okay. And remember, like I said, it's important that the heat gets trapped in there because if you don't have this nice and tight, the heat's just gonna squeeze out the edges and then it's not gonna cook or melt your foods, okay? I'm gonna try doing this corner first. Should have made Elizabeth come help me with this segment. Okay. This side. There we go. Perfect, and then I'm gonna do just a little piece on the front here because you can see that's kind of billowing open. We don't want that. Okay, while I'm doing this, one thing you guys can do is try out different materials, try different kinds of foil, try bigger boxes or smaller boxes, because the cool thing about science is you'll learn the most about it when you're trying stuff with it, okay? So maybe you make a couple different solar ovens, maybe you make one and your brother makes a different kind, and then test it out. Put a s'more in each one and see which one melts faster, okay? All right, I'm gonna call that good for now. After the filming, I might add a little more tape, but you can see that that's covered pretty tightly. So here's how you're gonna set this up. Here's where your pie tin comes in. Remember how I said those shiny surfaces reflect more heat inside the oven? You're gonna open up the plastic cover piece. Oh, taking the whole part with me, hold on. There we go. And you're just gonna put this inside, and that's, think of it like a baking tray or your cookie sheet. So if I had my s'more in here, I would put it right in the tray or whatever I'm cooking. Then you're gonna close the plastic over it. And this is why a pizza box is nice, because it has this nice flap, which is super easy to open and close for you, okay? Perfect, now that's trapped in there. See, I'm poking it and it doesn't go in, okay? And this flap you want to stay open, because what's gonna happen is, let's say the sun is right here, the sun is gonna hit this and bounce in. So if I didn't have this flap, some sun is still gonna hit it, right? But not as much. We want as many of the sun's rays as possible to get inside that oven. So here's where your ruler or stick comes in. You can see my flap kind of stays up on its own, but if yours doesn't, you can take your stick or ruler and you can poke it into your box and then here and prop it open. But since I don't need that, I'm just probably not gonna poke my ruler in for now, okay? So that's your solar oven. So you want shininess to bounce in the rays, and then we have the black paper to soak up the heat, and then the plastic wrap to trap it all in there and keep it cooking. Before I go, I want to show you one other thing. I know some of you might not have pizza boxes at home and you don't want to have to order a pizza just for this project, or maybe you do. So if you have a regular box at home, which is just an Amazon box, right? You can do the same thing, but all I did, if I show you inside, notice I covered all the flaps in foil, so I have lots of reflective and shininess, and then I have my black paper in the bottom, and then I could do this again. The one tricky part with this is, since it doesn't have the nice pizza box flap, what you have to do is you have to put your s'more or whatever inside, Then put the plastic wrap over and tape it to the flaps, let it cook, and then take off the plastic wrap. So it's just a little bit more work because you have to put on and take off the plastic wrap each time you're taking things in and out. Okay, you don't have that nice flap, but totally still works, and it might even work better since you have more shiny flaps. Okay, so that's it for today. If you try out a solar oven, make sure to send us pictures and check out the picture of my s'more that we made in our solar oven. See you guys next time.